Welcome and good morning, Unity of Medina. We are one in spirit. I am honored to join you today in spirit as Reverend Anne Marie Elizabeth as we close our month of friendship, discourse, and considerations. I found a verse from Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, 9 through 12, that I'd like to read to you. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fail, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, and has not another to lift him up. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. So I invite you this morning to join me in opening our gathering now with prayer. Allow my words to be your words as we pray the prayer for a friend. O Lord, please bless our friendships. Our friendships are like a long, steady, soft rain. It's not so harsh that it will destroy, yet it is not so soft that it goes unnoticed. Our friendships are growing in your grace. Please bless our friendships and keep them holy at all times. Friendship is a gift from you, O Lord, and we thank you. May our friendships always produce the fruits of the Spirit, and may the soft rain of our friendships nourish the heart forever. Amen. And now Angie will get us up and moving.
Me, 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 me. And they're ready to sing. Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other. But we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melodies, each one tuning to a different key. But we are all playing in harmony in one great symphony. Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. A moment ago, still we did not know our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me greets Christ in me in one great family. Weave
Thank you. Welcome again to Unity of Medina. Here at Unity, we affirm our core values of integrity, love, joy, acceptance, and spiritual growth. May is the power of power, and Ann will light the purple candle. As she's lighting the candle, let's affirm together our affirmation for the month for the power of power. I have the power to create my world. And today's daily word is comfort. Loving memories comfort me. There may be days or maybe even weeks on the calendar when I find myself mysteriously feeling melancholy or blue, only to realize the anniversary of someone or something I have loved and lost is approaching. Even when I don't realize it outright, a part of me remembers and responds. I can honor these feelings as a way to honor the people and places that have taught me and helped me evolve. Welcoming my feelings brings deep and abiding comfort. I carry those people and places I love with me in the things I do, keeping their spirit alive. Gradually, I find smiles within the sadness. Revisiting treasured memories reveals the love within the loss. The presence of God is found within the gift of each moment, and I find comfort through my grateful heart. Today's passage is taken from Psalms 119:76. Let your steadfast love become my comfort, according to your promise to your servant. And now Angie will prepare us for meditation.
I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear as I hang out there, no other has ever known. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear as I hang out there, no other has ever known. No other has ever known.
And now, my beloved friends, breathing in deeply, continue that vision of a garden, a holy place. And maybe your thoughts of a holy place is a garden, or a pasture, or even a mountaintop. Where does your spirit wish to be right now? And allow that vision to be part of your mind. Feel what is around you. Smell what is around you. Taste the air that you are breathing. You are comforted. You are safe and secure as you continue to breathe and to let your spirit enjoy the space that you have created. As you relax and enjoy your space. You notice around you someone coming towards you. You notice their gait, their height. You can see, are they human? Are they animal? Are they a mixture? And they walk towards you. You see the light of God surround them. So you know they are safe and you are secure. As they approach, greet them with honor and respect. And as you feel comfortable, invite them to join you in your holy space. They are your guide for today. They are there to support you, to nurture you, comfort you, celebrate who you are. And they are there to answer your questions. In this sacred space that you have created for yourself, you can now begin a conversation. Ask a question, whatever question first comes to mind. Ask what is in your heart. And then through silence, listen to the response and allow yourself a discourse. Spirit. You are one in spirit with your guide. That guide will stay with you, and you may call him forward or her forward or it forward whenever you need him. It is a blessed angel of God in whatever form you need it to take. And so as you begin to breathe in again, thank your guide. Thank your mentor for helping, for answering your question. And with love and honor, say goodbye for now. And as you breathe, you return to this space in this time, knowing that within you is a friend. Thank you, Angie. She knows us so well. You're beautiful and I love you, I yelled as I stood alone on the cliff. And my echo replied, I just want to be friends. Does that work? That was my attempt at a Will, at a joke that Will will tell. I always tell him I don't do good jokes, but I do laugh a lot, so kind of makes up for it. My journey towards being my own best friend has been an off-again, on-again rocky road. My sharing with you today is another layer of that journey, and though I am probably speaking to the choir, I hope that you may leave today blessed by even one idea. I have been sharing with my prayer partner for probably a year now that I felt like I was in a moment of change in my life and that I was stoically preparing for it. And then God laughed. I have come to realize that my life has been all about constantly changing. Each time I think I'm settled, something happens. So this last time, I told God that I've decided to include in my last will that I am requiring someone to put me up for patron saint of change and resistance. Might as well get something for it. On May 10th, I was relieved of my current employment. And after a sense of shock, I became angry with God and had a right good rant. You have to know that my higher self and me have a weird relationship. It goes along with the saying, you don't have to be weird to be my friend, because I'll teach you. So we go back and forth. I was really tired of having to change, and that I was always all alone. No one to fall back on, no one to save me, yada, yada, yada. And I was doing this rant while I was sitting on my back steps tearing bread to feed the birds and the animals, because it was like, so I hope those animals aren't sick, because there was like a lot of anger going out in that. So as I sat finally quiet, though still tearing the bread from my backyard, that small little voice popped into my head. You still have you. I was so startled. I said, what? Are you kidding me? What does that mean? And you are going to have to do better than that, considering that only having me is the complaint. Come Mother's Day, I was still unsatisfied and not in a good place. I decided to take myself out for lunch after service to that Asian buffet that's down the street. I don't remember the name. I think it's Asian buffet, but Donna had previously asked me to speak on today, and so I was mulling over what to talk on, though not feeling like I had anything positive that I could share. When at the end of the meal, I opened my fortune cookie and I read, a good friendship is often more important than a passionate romance. I hate when that little small voice is right. It does it to me every time. So I just sat back, giggled a little, and then it's like the light bulbs kind of went off. And so with humor, I began my journey toward a deeper version of self-love called being your best friend. And that is what I would like to share with you today. Henry Ford is quoted as saying, my best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. There are 3 attributes of friendship that could fall under this statement. curiosity, choice, and sacrifice. Beginning with curiosity, it's interesting that Bruce Price spoke on curiosity last week. And he said that curiosity was like receiving, evolving new consciousness. I have been doing the book, The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. And I have the audio, so I listen to it. It makes it hard to find pages to quote, but it was good. It makes you listen. But in The Light We Carry, she has a whole section on friendship and a variety of things to say. One of the things that stuck out for me was she also used the word curiosity. Hers was, if you want to make a friend, you have to be curious about the people that you meet. And sometimes that curiosity will lead to a friendship, and sometimes that curiosity will say, oh, I need to stay away. That's your choice. A friend of mine, she was my best friend for 8 months. I knew her during the COVID. It was April of 2021. I call her my Bodhisattva friend. She lived compassion. She was a compassionate warrior. And she brought out the best in me. She showed me how to be a compassionate person and with joy. She passed away in January due to COVID. For that 8 months, we were almost inseparable. When I met her, we had taken a friend out to lunch. And after the lunch, she gave me a hug. And she said, I just want to let you know that you're my new friend. So it got me curious. like, I'm not sure. She was very loud. She interrupts you all the time. And I thought, I don't know, I'm not sure. But I became curious. What made her tick? Why was she so bubbly and happy? And she knew everybody. And if she didn't know everybody, she made sure she knew them before they left her presence. And so I learned a lot about being a compassionate warrior, something I thought was part of my life, part of my calling, but that I had failed at. She showed me how you could succeed. At her funeral, there were 250 people. A year later, at her celebration of life, she filled a church. And it was awesome to see. So she brought out that idea of being curious. Had I not been curious about what made her work, I could have missed a very good friend. And I watched her be curious with others. So I'm asking you, are you curious about yourself? Do you know your success stories? Have you checked in on what your favorite color is lately? Have you checked in on what makes you, you? Because we change. So every once in a while, instead of taking ourselves for granted, it's good to check in and just see what makes you, you. Ask the question. And then conscious choice. I have 2 friends that I have known. Let's see, Pat I've known for 35 years, and Kathy 40 plus. We were in, not grade school, there used to be one between high school and junior high, I think, middle school, something like that. But it's 40 some years we've been friends. And it came about, like Pat approached me with her children and said, I think we were both going to an Episcopalian church at the time. Do you want to go to a Cursil? And she became my mentor and then my friend. And we all had children in the same age. Sometimes it's been a couple years where we didn't see each other, but we get together and it's like nothing ever. There was no time lapse. My daughter asks me often, Mom, why do you have these two people as your friend? Because we're opposites. They're not like me. They're complete opposites. And she doesn't understand that. I said, it's because we made a choice years ago, and then after not seeing each other, remade the choice. When we no longer had children to share with or anything, we had to make choices about being adults and being friends. So it's a conscious choice. Every time that we get together in authenticity and an open heart. So we don't get together to say, what can you do for me? It's how can I listen and how can I care for you? And when two people come together with that intent, it makes for a pleasant day. And then we have sacrifice. Now, most of the time we think of sacrifice as something you really don't want to do. And it can be, though there's a good attitude. Sacrifice is showing up for yourself, even when others do not or cannot show up for you. My friend Pat, in her later years, decided, she's like 10 years older than I am, and somewhere along the line, she decided to buy a cabin in Pennsylvania, like up in the mountains, Pennsylvania. So the treetops look like trees. And of course she went and did it rustic. She's more rustic than I am. And so her cabin has no running water. We have a compostable toilet unit. There's electricity, but you don't have Wi-Fi, you can't do TV. So you really, you do a lot of talking. You'd play games, do arts and crafts. Anyway, to take your shower, I never spend more than a few days. You take your shower when you get home. And I always complain when I get home, like, oh my God, because I always help her close up the cabin. A lot of work to close up the cabin. And one year she had us chopping down brush that was in the yard because she wanted to mow better. And I'm thinking, what the heck am I doing? This is not my idea of a good weekend. Cutting down brush and dragging it to the center and lighting fire. We almost got ourselves on fire. And, and one time I opened up the sofa bed, the little couch bed, to find that the squirrels had put acorns. So I spent the night, so we had to clean that up, and then I spent the night trying to make sure I wasn't hearing little vermins running around. And I thought, oh. So I always go home exhausted. The first thing I do is take a very long shower, and the next thing I do is take a very long nap. And then I relish in the memory. But my daughter was saying, Mom, you do this every year, and then every year you go. Why? That's my sacrifice, because Pat means so much to me. And I would not want her to close up that cabin alone. It's too much work. So I make that. That's the one thing I do for her, because I know there's many times she does things for me. And I have found that sacrifice also means doing what you love, even if you do it alone. I do a lot of things alone. That was one of my complaints. And I realized that I needed to start changing an attitude. You can do it alone because you have to do it alone, or you can do it alone because you get to do it alone. So I'm asking you, are you a friend to yourself that you can be alone with yourself and still find joy? Eleanor Roosevelt said, friendship with oneself is all important, because without it, one cannot be friends with anyone else in the world. And within this statement, I found that forgiveness was the first aspect of friendship. Forgiveness and accepting the things you cannot change, like your background or your past. Forgiveness meaning that you understand everyone makes mistakes. And are you putting your mistakes on a pedestal to be revisited often? Or are you focusing on your strengths? To be your best friends, my friends, they focus on my strengths. We may have pity parties, but we limit them. One day, a couple hours, depending on who has the mood for it. I even limit them for myself. I have learned to honor when I'm not feeling the best about myself, but not to dwell in that space. It's not the fact that you ignore that maybe you're not feeling good about yourself. That wouldn't be helpful. It's the fact that you don't dwell there. And you can recreate, but through forgiveness, to move forward. Then there's the safe place, safe space within yourself. My friends and I, as our children were young, we called, and Michelle Obama talks about this in her book also, called the kitchen table. And when Michelle mentioned it, I went, oh yeah, we used to do that. We'd go over each other's houses and sit around the kitchen table. You know, coffee, tea, pop, always a treat. And it was the place that we shared who we are. We shared sometimes, we would talk about current events, philosophy, what's going on in our life, who we were angry at, who we were trying to get over, what our kids were doing. All we knew is that what was said at the kitchen table stayed at the kitchen table. That's where it became a safe place. And there was no judgment. You know that Planet Fitness has this judgment-free zone? I think it's hilarious because they say judgment-free zone and then there's mirrors. Like, you know, like mirror. I always have a troubled time with that judgment-free zone. You have some people who you know, oh, I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. I'm not going to look at that mirror. And then others who stand in front of the mirror and are totally impressed with themselves. I love to go to Planet Fitness and just watch the people because it's an interesting day at the zoo. So are you making a safe place within yourself? Do you treat yourself as no judgment zone? Can you be truthful and honest with yourself without belittling and without judging? And then authenticity. Do you speak truth about yourself? Or do you lie? Or do you support the lies that others have said about you? That was the hardest one for me. I value authenticity, though I'm my harshest critic. And when I really studied this last 3 weeks, I realized I wasn't being a very good friend. Because saying that it's one thing, you have to be honest if you've made a mistake, right? But like I said, dwelling there or belittling yourself because of it is not being a good friend. My friends would listen to mistakes, we would forgive each other, and then we would move on. And they would support. They'd say, well, but remember you did this right and that right. Friends can do tough love, and they still support you. And you don't compare yourself to others. That's another lie, because you don't know really what their life is all about. You have to be honest with yourself and then follow your consciousness, that squirmy little tiny voice inside of you. It will let you know if you're on the right track. There is one practice that I developed a few years ago for myself, and I've probably shared this. I call it my ABCs of self. And so when I need to be supported, I make a list of A through Z, and I begin with, I am a woman of, and I start with A. So this time around I had to say, I'm a woman of anger, because that's where I was. And you have to, the one rule for me is the first word that comes to mind under that alphabet. And then you have to sit with it. The only ones I kind of have to manipulate or negotiate are X, Y, and Z. Those are really hard to come up with off the top of your head. I have to always use my thesaurus for those. And then if I'm getting tired of the same word coming up all the time, I may do a little bit of creative. But I try to sit with whatever I have because I want to own it. So you have to own it. And then you'd ask the question, is this a blessing or a curse? Because even if it sounds negative, like I am a woman of anger, could be a blessing for the moment. Needs to, get me moving. How about I'm a woman of change? Ugh, that one. I'm going to have to own it, but I think I may decide to transform that somehow instead of keeping it. Or I'm a woman of resistance. Another one that I have to decide, is it blessing me? Or do I need to transform it? So I invite you to play that. And you can use I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a person. I like to claim my gender because it's something I honor. And it's done well for me. And then, of course, we have Myrtle Fillmore. From the book Teachings for Myrtle Fillmore, she says, sometimes we pray to God outside of ourselves. It is the God in the midst of us that frees and heals. You need to think of God, the all-powerful healer, as being already within you, in every part of your mind, heart, and body. She speaks on blessing yourselves down from the atom to the molecules. Bless your body. Bless all the wondrous things that it does, even without your knowledge, like breathing. We have all that we need inside of us, inside our consciousness. We need to give it the safe place to germinate. Holistic love is the ability to take good care of your mind, body, and soul. Being a good friend to yourself will look different for each of us individually. That's the beauty of it. You get to decide how you want to treat yourself. In doing so, we inevitably teach others how they should treat us also. And I leave you with this final quote from President Abraham Lincoln. I desire so to conduct the affairs of this administration that if at the end I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall at least have one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. Namaste.
So I have a song that I'm sure all of you know. And I thought it worked well. It's for friendship, and if you can think of it as like you saying this to yourself so that you can be this kind of friend to others and you can accept this kind of friendship from others. But I know you know this. At some point, I'm going to look at you to help me with a part. You're going to know what part it is.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand, yeah, by me. Won't you stand by me, yeah, stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, all the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Here we go, the solo. Ready? Or you sing it. Let's sing it together. Here we go. La, da, 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 darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Won't you stand now? Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Won't you stand now? Stand by me. Stand by me. Let's do that second verse again. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, all the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Won't you stand now? Stand by me. Stand by me. Yeah, guys.
Thank you. Fabulous, as usual. And your sermon made me think back to when I was younger. And when I was younger, I was very poor, but I'm happy to report after many years of hard work and keeping my nose to the grindstone, I'm no longer young. Now, and you also mentioned Planet. You mentioned Planet Fitness, and I was thinking of jogging, but then I thought of not jogging, and I felt so much better. So thanks for that reminder. We have some announcements here, and we have some announcements from the crowd, and we'll go ladies first. Linda, you have some information. Do you? Okay.
I have been the successful bidder for a private tour of a and we're going to be visiting the Rivendell site, which is the largest site donation that the park has had, and I think it's 203 acres. It'll be private with Nate on June 2nd at 10 o'clock, and Rivendell is in Westfield Township. I don't have the address yet, but I will have it. And if anybody would like to join me, I would love to have you, because it's going to be an awesome, awesome experience. I did a private tour with Nate at Chippewa Lake, and I know this one's going to be just as good. So anybody that's available on June 2nd at 10 o'clock, please join me.
Sounds good. David, you had an announcement too.
Thank you, Will. I could relate to you, Will. I started out with nothing, and I still have most of it, so done pretty well myself. When I accepted the post as board president again, one of the commitments that I made was that I would be very transparent about board activities and things that we hope to accomplish. And this is just a little mini report. Two things have occurred that we've dealt with. The first one is we have signed a new lease for our space here. Originally, we had a one-year lease. And so I met with the landlord, and we negotiated a little bit. And we now have a 2-year lease signed. And the advantage to that was, number one, we know what the rent's going to be for the next 2 years. That's locked in. And the second thing is we pay $187.50 a month for utilities, and that's locked in for the next 2 years. So if there's an increase, well, we're protected against that. So, and in the negotiation with the landlord, he agreed to put the lighting in that we want to have, our track lighting, so that we can do away with all these lamps and stuff we have around here, and we can have better lighting for our audio-visual program that we have and for the online programs. Thank you. It's essential that we have that, and it would have been a pretty great expense for us to have to foot that bill ourselves, because it'll require an electrician, a separate circuit, so it can be on a separate switch, a lot of details. So that will be handled as soon as we put together a plan for it. The other thing that we dealt with this week, Eric got a notice that our contract with Armstrong was up and that needed to be renewed. And he gave me the number of the place in Butler, Pennsylvania to contact and talk with them. And on the phone, I met a very nice young lady by the name of Dawn, and she was real cooperative, and we talked for a while. And I said, is there any way we can get a better deal? I think we were paying $89 a month for our Armstrong. And she said, well, if you're willing to take a longer contract. I goes, well, you know, we're going to need it for a while, so why not? So I was able to negotiate a 3-year contract with Armstrong, and that will save us $240 a year for the next 3 years. So, you know, some of these things are little things, but the little things add up. So that's what's going on with it right now. Another thing, as a board, we have decided that we will make a semi-annual report on how our finances are going. We're going to do it in July. And, you know, it's not going to be a lot of extreme details. You know, we're not going to tell you how much we spend on paper clips and stuff like that. But the main things and how things are going. And, you know, through the generosity everybody has displayed, and we know that it's our commission to use those funds judiciously and to be responsible for what we do. So, you know, we've saved a lot of money by moving over here where we did. And we had a lot of initial expenses in the move, and, you know, these are all going to be smoothed out through the next year or two. So things are going well, and I just want to see more posteriors in the chairs. So that's our goal. So thank you.
Okay, now, the regular announcements. We are collecting donations of new men's socks and underwear for the homeless. Please let Karen Kadusky know if you have any questions. And they're to start bringing that in, I think, right? Does somebody know? Since she's not. Okay. All right. On June 3rd, our board members will be attending leadership training with 5 other Unity centers in the area. And now Ann will lead us in blessing one another and any guests with us today.
Thank you, Will. And now I broke my glasses, so I have to hold them. I don't see any new people, so let's take this time and bless ourselves. Let your gaze fall upon your friends here as we say, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold the Christ in you. Thank you for being here. And now we have our offering. And if you'll take your offering in the palm of your hand, and through love and appreciation we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And we are grateful.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed.
Now, if you'll come forward, and if someone will come and take the world and our prayer box. He's carrying the weight of the world with our prayers. And so now we begin. Father, Mother God, creator of the universe, keeper of our hearts and breath of life, we stand before you in thanksgiving for the generosity of our friends standing here among us and those friends joining us virtually. Their tithes and gifts bless Unity of Medina and allow us to continue your work throughout this congregation and within the community. We hold gratitude and returned blessings to all. In our prayer box today, we are thankful for the trust that is given to Unity of Medina and is shown through the placement of prayer requests given weekly. We hold each request with love and compassion as we prayerfully support in group each Wednesday, and then send these prayers to Silent Unity for continued prayer support. We hold gratitude and returned spiritual support to those who minister through prayer. And for our dear Mother Earth, ground upon which we stand and receive our nurture and our survival. We ask that Mother God continue to send forth the angels that advocate for right use of the earth's resources, and that she enlivens our hearts toward love and compassion for all the people that our Mother Earth supports. And we say amen. And now I invite you to join in circle as we sing. Let us complete our gathering today with prayer. The light of God